On paper, the concept of Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai sounds a little ridiculous, as if the film's writer and director Jim Jarmusch just wanted to see what he could get away with. You have Ghost Dog, played by the great Forrest Whitaker, a man of solitude who lives by the ancient Japanese code of the Bushido, and he's an extremely efficient hitman who works for a small gang of Italian mobsters, and he communicates primarily by homing pigeon to his sole contact Louis, the very mobster who saved Ghost Dog's life 8 years prior to the film. And when he isn't killing his targets or tending to his pigeon coop, Ghost Dog shoots the breeze with his best friend Raymond, a Haitian ice cream salesman who only speaks French. So, it's a jolly good thing that Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai works as well as it does. The film's weird mixture of Eastern philosophy, cross-cultural motifs, and urban criminality results in a pretty inspired narrative. Let's dig into what it's all about. When the film begins, the camera sweeps over a blighted industrial yard before approaching a dingy wooden rooftop shack with a small pigeon coop outside of it. And inside the shack we watch Ghost Dog immersing himself in the 18th century book Hagakure by Yamamoto Tsunetomo. He reads a passage that details his central philosophy, the first of several excerpts interspersed in the film. The way of the samurai is found in death. Meditation on inevitable death should be performed daily. Every day, when one's body and mind are at peace, one should meditate on being ripped apart by arrows, rifles, spears, and swords. And every day without fail, one should consider himself as dead. Aside from a small shrine and a row of books, Ghost Dog's means are utterly void of opulence, restricted instead to the deadly tools of his specialized trade. In his mind, his existence is absolutely purified, his old world code of conduct governing his body as he applies his knowledge with strict precision. His skills and philosophy would shortly face its greatest test from the moment he arrives at the home of his first target. In a quick establishing shot, the front gate of the target's home displays a for sale sign by Alighieri Properties, a tiny bit of foreshadowing into the hell that Ghost Dog will unknowingly enter. If Ghost Dog's ancient influences maintain an organized balance for his own life, then the very mobsters he works for serve as a paltry contrast. Because of murky reasons that they are not even completely sure of, the gangsters mark their shadowy assassin for death after he kills one of their own in front of their boss's daughter, Louise Vargo. The poker-faced ringleader, Ray Vargo, and his right hand, Sonny, order their goons to hunt down Ghost Dog, yet they show an appalling lack of intelligence by storming random pigeon coops around the city, never sure if their owners are the Ghost Dog. When they arrive at one that belongs to a hulking Native American man, played by Gary Farmer, in a cameo that appears to transplant his role from Jarmusch's 1995 film, Dead Man, the portly, balding henchmen squabble over the real identity of their newfound target. He isn't black, but he's big, right? They surmise, as the man angrily deems them stupid effing white men. Cross-cultural signifiers are embodied and expressed by the majority of the film's oddball personalities. Louis and his mafia partners have a sit-down in the back room of a Chinese restaurant in one of the film's priceless scenes, where he's awkwardly pressed to describe the exact identity of their unknown and bizarre hitman. Upon hearing the name Ghost Dog, Louis says, "These black gangsta types always have crazy names for themselves." Sonny elaborates further by surprisingly dropping names of notable rappers, particularly Flava Flav, when he raps a few lines from the Public Enemy track Cold Lampin' with Flava. Flavor Flav on a hype tip. I'm your hype drink. Come take a big sip. I'm in position, you can't play me out the pocket. I'll take the dopest beat you got and I'll rock it. Like chocolate, even vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, sarsaparilla. Ray Vargo recalls Native American names like Crazy Horse and Black Elk. The mobsters deride such unique names, yet they also have colorful names among their own circle, such as Big Angie and Sammy the Snake. Ghost Dog's friendship with Raymond is another distinct example of cross-culture, as their relationship depicts a simultaneous camaraderie and distance. Both men cannot understand what the other is saying, as they only know their native tongues, yet they unknowingly, to each other, state the exact same observations. On one hand, Ghost Dog and Raymond suggest an unspoken yet seamless bond between themselves from an ethnic standpoint. Except for Louis, the rest of the figures in the film who show common respect to Ghost Dog are also black men. There's also the young girl, Pearline, who exchanges book suggestions with him as well. On the other hand, Ghost Dog and Raymond's friendship is one example of selective cross-culture co-opting, as Ghost Dog lives by past Japanese ideals and makes no effort to learn Raymond's dialect. And Raymond chooses to speak only French. He says that learning English was impossible for him. Also, Ghost Dog does not speak a single word of Japanese, despite immersing himself in its old culture. Sonny identifies with the hard-hitting sounds of Public Enemy, though most likely not their socio-political messages, and Luis reads Rashomon, a story that is subtly alluded to via the altered flashbacks of the main character and Louis. For instance, Ghost Dog remembers Louis saving his life from another mobster who was assaulting him, but Louis remembers that incident a bit differently. Like the story of Rashomon, which is also a classic Akira Kurosawa film that you just got to check out by the way, we're left unsure as to which version really happened. The subdued, raw score of the film is provided by the RZA, the architect behind the production of the Wu-Tang Clan's records. His contributions to Ghost Dog is yet another representation of cultural intermingling, as Wu-Tang's sound and imagery is chiefly influenced by Eastern teachings, Asian literature, and kung fu movies. RZA also went on to produce music for Kill Bill and even directed his own kung fu feature, The Man with the Iron Fists, which I'm told is a 5-star masterpiece. Nobility is all but an obsolete concept in the world of Ghost Dog. While Whitaker's urban samurai endeavors valiantly to uphold his ideals, they are incompatible in the rough, fend-for-myself world he inhabits. He is a man who was born in the wrong era. In an encounter with two bear hunters, Ghost Dog demonstrates that the instincts of violence and a respect for the natural order of things remain unchanged. During the following scene, a wounded mobster is awed at Ghost Dog's ruthlessness, saying, quote, "He's taking us out old school, like real gangsters." His choice of words are notable, as the criminals he works with are small-time, disorganized neighborhood grunts, a step below the main characters in Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas. As for Louis, his stakes are torn between saving himself and lending Ghost Dog a helping hand without explicitly doing so. Forrest Whitaker is a rather inspired choice for the film's title protagonist, yet his quiescent demeanor and slow-boil intensity enables him to be very well suited for the contemporary warrior. It's difficult to imagine what shape Jarmusch's film would have been in if another actor assumed the part, and even the director remarked at one point that he would not have made the movie had Whitaker turned down the role. Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai weaves its cultural and genre-mixing elements into a tough tapestry of idiosyncratic inventiveness. Jarmusch's confidence in his film's absurd-on-its-face premise is validated by his sharp writing, directing, and hip sensibilities. And you should also peep the score and soundtrack to this film as well. It's killer stuff. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Victor Omoayo, and you can find more video essay goodness and reviews right here on the Victor Omoayo channel.